Hey everyone, we're making a series of videos available to you to learn Amazon EC2 with 10 labs and 20 facts and refreshers for your exam. The full course is available on YouTube. It's also available on Udemy. You can check the links in the description below to view the Udemy link. This course is produced by CloudYeti. We make simplified cloud computing, AWS, and DevOps videos. You can contact us by emailing us, checking out our GitHub, visiting our website, or following us on LinkedIn. I'll be the presenter for this course. My name is Saurav Sharma. I am 7 times AWS certified. You can support us by helping us reach 5,000 subscribers. We're currently around 3,200 and reaching 5,000 is very important to us. So if you want to support us, start by subscribing to us. And you can also watch our other content, buy our courses on Udemy, etc. We're adding a lot more content, so we're open to feedback, suggestions, and requests from you guys because we're making these videos for you guys. All right, now let's get started. Welcome back. This is lab 4, and the title of this lab is EC2 permissions using access keys and using roles. So 2 ways for EC2 to get permissions to access other AWS services, one with roles, the other with access keys. I'm here in the course repo, and I'm gonna go to the labs directory and open lab 4. So before we give the EC2 instance permissions with IAM Role, we will give EC2 instance permissions with hard-coded access keys and secret access key. So you'll get to see 2 ways of giving an EC2 instance, permissions to access other AWS resources. So let's begin the lab. Let's go to the IAM dashboard, first of all, where we will create a user and generate access keys for that user. So I'm going to go to my IAM dashboard by typing IAM in the search box and clicking on IAM. At this point, I'll click on users and I will click add user. I'll use the name of test user 2 and I'll give this user programmatic access. So programmatic access, we need this. Management console access, we don't need this for this lab. So let's click on next permissions. And in here, I'm gonna click on this third option to attach existing policies directly to this user. So in the search box, I'm gonna type S3. We want to give this user Amazon S3 full access. Once you select the Amazon S3 full access, make sure you select the right one because you also have a S3 read-only access. Select the right policy and click on next tags. In here, just click on next review and you can click create user. At this point, you'll see this window with a button that says download.csv. If you click here, a CSV file with the username, the access key ID, and also the secret access key, which you can view by clicking on show. So once you generate these keys, you can copy and paste these somewhere safe. I'm gonna leave this window open for later when I need this. So the next step will be to launch an EC2 instance. So I'm going to go to my EC2 dashboard and launch instance and select the Amazon Linux AMI. Go with the T2 micro, everything default in here, everything default here, and say name it access keys test or something, and say next. Security group can be the existing first instance security group, or the security group we created in the first lab, or you can create a new security group. As always, feel free to try a few different things. So now let's click review and launch, review everything, and launch with the right instance. Keep here, acknowledge, launch. So, just like the previous labs, we have created one more EC2 instance, and I hope you're having fun doing this, because it really will reinforce all the things while you do things again and again. So I'm going to click on this instance and click on connect to this instance, copy this connection text and go into my terminal. I'm in my downloads folder. So let's paste that text to connect, say yes here, and you'll be in the Amazon Linux AMI. At this point, we want to type in AWS. So one thing about the Amazon Linux AMI that we have been using over and over to launch EC2 instances, one thing about those AMIs is that it comes loaded with all the Amazon packages and applications, like the command line interface for AWS, the SDKs for AWS like Boto 3, and so on and so on. And it also comes with other popular packages pre-installed, compared to Red Hat, with which might not have many things installed. More like bare bones Red Hat versus a bunch of applications installed on the Amazon Linux. So back to the terminal, the Amazon Linux AMI has the AWS command line interface installed. That's why when you type AWS, you see this. Otherwise, if you just log into a normal Ubuntu instance, then AWS, when you type AWS, the command is not recognized because you haven't installed anything. We won't look into installing AWS command line interface in this lab, but we have the AWS command line installed if you use the Amazon Linux AMI. And once it's installed, using it is very easy. You need to type a simple command like AWS S3 MB for make bucket, and type in EC2. Oops, I missed S3 colon // So you can try to make a bucket. I'm gonna introduce some random strings to randomize the bucket name. So I try to make a bucket using this command. Enter. Right, and I get an error saying unable to locate credentials. This is expected because so far AWS command line interface is installed, but I need permissions to access S3 buckets even if I'm inside my AWS account. That's how AWS permissions work. You need permissions between services. To add those permissions, I can configure the AWS command line interface by typing AWS configure, enter. And here you'll be asked for the AWS access key ID. And this is where you paste the access key ID, as you see here. So I'm going to copy this and paste. And the secret access key will be this part. So I have to show you this for this demo, but never show your secret access key in a video you share to others. I'm going to make sure I delete the user right after the video. So enter the secret access key. The default region name is the region name you're working from. So sometimes for services like EC2, when you say list all my EC2 instance, you'll only see results from one region, and the region you put in here will be the region the response will be coming out of. So I'm working out of US East 1. Now for the default output format, the default option is JSON. So even if I don't type anything and type enter, JSON will be the default output format. So I don't need to do anything in there. So just typed enter. At this point, my AWS credentials are set up, and I should be able to call this command and create the bucket now. So I'm gonna copy this command again and try to create this bucket. And this time I don't get an error. I just get an output saying make bucket EC2 permissions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means the bucket was created, unlike here where it says make bucket failed. So to verify, I can type in a command saying AWS S3 ls, meaning list all the buckets, and enter. And I can see some of my buckets that I created earlier, as well as the bucket I created in this lab named EC2 permissions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's wrong with this problem? What's bad with this way of getting credentials is that the credentials are hard-coded in a file. You can access the credential file by typing a command like cat, which will show the contents of the file, and a command like AWS Credentials. So I have this command in the steps here, right here, cat AWS Credentials. I'm going to type this, and this will give me the credentials that I set up earlier. So you see, the problem with this is if someone gets access to my EC2 instance, they can see this, access key and secret access key, and they can use this. And user access keys are not rotated often. They're rotated like, every 3 months or year or so that once someone gets an access, they have access for a while. In this case, we have S3 full access, and if a malicious user gets access to these keys, he can store multiple files without me knowing. So what is the better way then? A better way to attach permissions to EC2 is using roles, right? A better way to give permissions to your EC2 instances or the application in your EC2 instances is using roles, which lets you get access without hard coding any credentials. And let's see how that works. So first of all, let's delete this file with the credentials, right? This file that contains the credentials, let's use a command like rm for remove and credentials file. And now when I use this command to view the credentials, I don't have that file. And I don't have that file, so when I say AWS S3 ls, then it tells me unable to locate credentials. So obviously I need to do AWS configure again. So at this point I know that these things are gone, and the command is not working anymore. So let's create a role now. We'll do this in the second part of this lab. I'll see you in the second part of this lab then.